fuck? A former NASA engineer just claimed Earth is covered in trillions of invisible alien devices, and that there are hidden alien surveillance networks already operating across the entire planet. Richard Bundrick, a former NASA propulsion engineer, just dropped some serious claims that most people haven't even heard of. Now, he says what we are seeing in the skies, the UFOs, the flying triangles, even the disappearances, are not the full story. Now, according to him, the real issue is what we can't see. Now, he claims trillions of tiny alien-made devices are cloaked all around the world, in the air, on the ground, maybe even near you, and that they are capable of shape-shifting and blending into any environment. Now, he worked with the US government in private research groups, and he says the tech is so advanced, it's literally hundreds of years ahead of what we have now. Now, some of these materials literally turn into dust when they're being studied, like they're designed to self-destruct to keep us from figuring them out. He even warned that all of this could be part of a long-term manipulation of our species. If he's right, this isn't just about aliens visiting Earth, folks. It's about them being here and already watching. What do you think, though? Are we finally waking up to the truth? Or is this just a big part of the fucking bigger setup?
But what about them files, though? Everybody want to talk about everything else but them files, though. But before I get this lesson started, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and infinite glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chadash. Double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Wa, peace, and salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity, risking your lives and your freedom, especially to do so in this time that we're living in, the prophets being demonized, people speaking out against this world, people speaking out against the atrocities that are happening behind the scenes, people, the prophets that are exposing, Esau, Edom, and for all the lies that he has told humanity. And one of the main lies that he has told humanity is so-called that we're alone in the universe, that we're the only planet in all this trillions and innumerable number of stars that have a brain to think, and that we're just on this planet because we evolved through a fish that started walking on land, and then that land animal started turning into a monkey, and that monkey came into a forefather of what we are today as humans. You fucking demons, you, man. And that is why you have so many dumbass people that believe anything Esau says, that they're theory of evolution. No, what these are and what you are seeing and what these dumbass people want to talk about now, and we know that it's just another distraction, just like Mexico and the cartels distraction, just like so-called releasing the files of aliens and etc. so-called, which they're not going to tell you the truth. They're not going to tell you that they're so-called black men. I'm going to say just like that. They're not going to tell you that they're so-called black men, which is they're not. They're angels that look like so-called African Americans, which would be the tribe of Judah, but melanated, the original man is what they say. The original man being dark-skinned, fine, like skin like it's fine brass is burnt in a furnace, curly hair, that is anti-gravity, stands up, that's where you get the fro, the original man. Everything else from that is just a mutation, So back to it, the angels and Esau Edom is not going to tell you that they look like you. They're not going to tell you that they're there actually only to keep tabs on the elite, the government's making sure that prophecy is going on according to schedule, so-called, lack of better words. The angels are in charge of divine intervention. The angels are in charge of protecting. Angels are in charge of bringing back the report of the elect, as well as the Israelites' behaviors. The angels are in charge of, saving your life in traffic when you decided to turn into the left lane instead of the right lane, because in the right lane, there was somebody speeding 120 miles an hour, but you decided to go to the left lane just this time. And boom, that car went right by you, barely missed you. That's angels intervening, So I know I'm doing a lot of rambling, Salakia, but I'm going to get straight to it. Before I get these scriptures, I want to say that that video and these people are just finding out, what the prophets, starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, have been saying for decades out on the highways and byways, telling you that these things are going to happen. And these things that the people are talking about, these so-called TikTok influencers, just shows you even more that the truth is being pushed to the forefront of society. That great awakening, and people knowing what the truth is and who the Israelites are and who is salvation for, who the elect are, who the angels are, why the world was created, why humans are so-called on this earth. You go Ecclesiastes 12, what is the whole duty of man? Written by the wisest man on this earth, King Solomon. What is the whole duty of man? To fear the Most High and to keep his commandments. Ultimately, all the heathens are going to, fear the Most High and keep his commandments, because they're going to be forced to under the rulership of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, the elect, King David, the 12, and the governing body and the hierarchy of the kingdom of the Israelites, the kingdom of Yahshua Allah. He Prince Power. So continuing, with these topic at hand, Esau bugging out by showing you the chariots and giving you some truths, half truths, because Esau has cloaking technology. Esau has anti-gravity technology. Esau has ships that are in the shapes of triangles, flying around at high speeds, but they cannot break the laws of gravity like chariots can, turning on a dime, going thousands of miles per hour, going Mach 20, and then they stop on a dime and then take a left turn. Esau can't replicate that, but he does have technology, whether it be this blue beam, Project Blue Beam, which can project holographic images in the sky, as well as him, launching a missile through the hologram or whatever, to actually cause destruction, whether to have a hologram missile hit down and then he has a group of explosives in a building already planted there, but he has a fake alien invasion come down and blow the whole shit up. Esau is going to try anything that he can to take the heat off of what he's feeling right now with these files, as well as, him trying to control the narrative, because the starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, the prophets are out there on the highways and byways telling you what everything is. So he's trying to do damage control for how much videos, especially of those men of Great Millstone that are constantly putting out videos on the highways and byways, doing sit downs, doing camps, doing lessons, sharing information, and people doing these TikTok videos talking about these chariots and the information that they gathered. That's only for us. That's for the elect to Lord willing. I'll say this, that's for the prophets to sift through and to filter it through the scriptures. And so Salakia, again, I know I'm long-winded. Before I get to this scriptures, I was saying a lot, but I like the build up, to exactly what the scriptures say perfectly. This is Psalms 104:3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. So as you can see, that's talking about that flaming fire, that chariot in the clouds, that cloaking capabilities, all that. So as you can see, there's many different examples of chariots, and their likeness. You can go through Ezekiel 1. I'm going to go straight to the point. Ezekiel 1:4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire unfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Whoo! That's why it says it makes his ministers fire. What does it say? Make his ministers a flame. His angel spirit. Here, let me go back to that. Psalms 104:3. It says, who maketh his angel spirits, his ministers, a flaming fire. We know that, the Ruach HaKodesh, is also described as a spirit, which we know as like a fire, that heat, and we know that the chariots of fire, as well as the ministers of flaming fire, that's the Ruach HaKodesh, and we know that the angels bring us down the understanding to understand these scriptures, to sup with us. As we read and go through these things, we understand, what they mean, which is going to bring me to my next scriptures, which is Amos 9, Amos 3, 9 and 3, Salakia. Let me go right here. I hit the wrong one. This is Amos 9, and I'm going to start at verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh. And I'm going to stop right there. The eyes are the angels, the messengers, the chariots that are in the clouds reporting on what's going on down here on earth, reporting the status of the elect, the 1/3, what Esau's doing, everything. Amos 9 and 8, behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai power are upon the sinful kingdom. And if you go look at the number of UFO sightings, the most number of UFO sightings are here in Babylon the Great and over there in the UK, but majority are here in Babylon the Great. And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. And we know that that's talking about Babylon the Great, because the nation promised to be destroyed off the face of the earth. First and foremost, aka a nation is a people before it's a place, and that kingdom, is Esau Edom that's going to get destroyed. But where did he make his headquarters? Right here in America, Babylon the Great, which is going to be utterly destroyed by the way of ICBM nuclear missiles, the chariot laser beams, and the fury and anger and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Continuing, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh. And not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, which means a lot of Jacob is going to still die, is still going to go get unalived, but not completely, as in these other nations being completely broken from their power. Verse 9, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations. That's a great scattering, the diaspora. Like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. So the Israelites, wherever they are on the four corners of the earth, are going to be separated from the nations that they've been surrounded by. Whatever nation they look like in the physical appearance, as long as they are an Israelite through the seed, the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob through the 12 tribes of Israel, you'll have to understand that those Israelites are going to be separated from the heathen nations that they've been dispersed to. Verse 10, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil, which is bad times, shall not overtake nor prevent us. So you think that America and Babylon the Great, or whatever situation that you're in, is going to continue forever? That's not the case. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to bring his judgment down. And though he says, he is patient. What is it? He will not meet thee as a man. Slow to anger me as man. Here we go. Not slack concerning. Not slack concerning his promise. Salaki Yashar Allah. Yep, that's it. 2 Peter 3 and verse 9. I should have known that. Sometimes you got to get back to the basics, because sometimes you don't bring scriptures out for a while, but they come back and it's right on point. This is 2 Peter 3 and verse 9. The Lord Yahweh is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. And that all is the nation of Israel, because only Israel was given the law, and only an Israelite can sin, and only an Israelite can come back repentance, which means to turn back from, doing bad. Because, like I said, the law was only given to the Israelites, and sin is transgression of the law. Pursuing to 1 John 3 and 4, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. And the law we know that was given to Moses, through faith, and the fact that he came down with the law written in stone, because whenever you write something in stone, it's settled, it's done, it's written in stone, it's concrete, it's not going to get changed, it's forever, it's not going to break down, it's there for all generations. This is that's not the one I was looking for in here, but to the point is that these chariots, Salakia, not to change gears on you, but these chariots, in the back to the original video that I showed you, we can see that Esau is just trying to cause confusion. Esau is just trying to project on anything else that's the problem, more than what's going on with these files, though, And I'll read this since I'm here. This is Hebrews 12 and 16. Because we know Esau is a liar. Esau is not going to tell you the truth. Esau is ultimately going to be that one that enters into the house of the thief. And I'm going to get that next. Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. So that's why he's so scared of these chariots. Because he knows what they mean. He knows that it's a sign of his kingdom coming down. Especially when people are openly talking about them. He's going to have to crash the internet for people to stop exposing the truth, because even people that don't know the truth about the 12 tribes of Israel, they don't know Yahushai's name, they're still exposing this white man for the devil that he is, and he ain't white, he's fucking red if you want to put a color to him. He's pink, he's fucking wasted away, he's pale, he's leprous, whatever you want to put a real color to it, man, that's what he is. And I'm going to say that, I'm going to get that, call Yabashim Yashad, I remembered. Enter into house of thief. This is Zechariah 5 and 4. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof, and the stones thereof. Yep. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit. Whoa, back up. Back up. Here we go. This is one of the bread and butter scriptures of the chariots, and this is what we're seeing right now. And this is why Esau is getting so scared, because he knows these. He has his Bible scholars, he has his ancients, he has his magi's, he has his witches, and he has his warlocks telling him what these signs mean. And I'm going to start from the top, and I'm going to close the lesson out on this because I'm at 7%, and then I want my phone to die out of nowhere. This is Zechariah 5 and 1. And I'm using my wired earphones. And if I disconnect my wired earphones in the middle of a screen recording, it'll glitch it out, and you may not be able to hear me. So, Salakia Yashra Allah, but I'm going to close this lesson out after reading these scriptures. This is Zechariah 5 and 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And that flying roll is obviously something in the ancient world that's flying, that's cylindrical. It doesn't have any wings, no propulsion. It's not flying straight way up in the sky. No, it's a flying roll. This is high technology that Zechariah was seeing. Verse 2, and he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. So it wasn't huge. I can't remember exactly the measurement in feet, but if you look up how much a cubit is on Google, and then you can multiply it by 20, and then you can multiply it by 10, to see the length of the chariot in feet wise. If I had to put a number out there, if I remember off the top of my head, it would have been about 80 feet by like 40 feet, but don't quote me on that. This is continuing Zechariah 5 and 3. Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. Like the so-called scientist was saying, that there's trillions of these cloaked devices all over the place, which we know are chariots just keeping their eye on the affairs of the world. For their eyes, for every one that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and every one that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it, aka judgment coming on you, especially aka the white man Esau Edom. Verse 4, I will bring it forth. Who's doing it? I will bring it forth, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. That's the Lord of armies. And it shall enter into the house of the thief. Who's the biggest thief in the world? Pursuing to Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, the thief, the robber. Everybody will cry after him, after a thief. That's Esau Edom. And into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. We know that this JC was a made-up character by this fucking devil, the so-called white man, to manipulate the minds of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And he did a great job at doing such. And it shall remain in the midst of his house. So Esau can't get rid of him. Esau has tried shooting him. He's tried nuking him. He's tried laser beaming him with his direct energy weapons. He's tried everything, and he can't do nothing against these chariots. These chariots have full control over even his nuclear sites, which there's been many testimonies of these chariots activating the controls on the nuclear missiles and shutting them off last minute right before launch. And it shall remain in the midst of his house. Remain. That means it's going to stay there. And shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. That's the elements wasting away. Consumed with fire, laser beams, and nuclear missiles. Zechariah 5:5. Then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, lift up now thine eyes and see what is this that goeth forth. So, and then that goes into a different breakdown, which goes into Israelites, being scattered throughout the whole world. If I believe, let me see. Yeah, that's a different breakdown, but the point being made, and what Esau is seeing up there is obviously making him worried. And one thing that I wanted to bring out in this video is this little section right here that you can see. I'm fast forwarding and backing up. This is where the scriptures describe, the chariots as a cloud, which is just another cloaking device, but again, Esau has cloaking devices too, so not every light you see in the sky, brothers, is a chariot, but brothers that have seen chariots, I myself have, up close encounters, there's many testimonies that you can see and hear of brothers going into their own testimonies, so, with that being said, I just thought it was funny that out of nowhere that these files now are being talked about. Out of nowhere, Esau wants to talk about disclosing the alien files, which it goes to show you again that this is, another one of the distractions that Esau's trying to put out there to get people talking about anything else except the files, which we ain't going to forget, you damn satanic PDF files, and what you did out there on the island, what you're doing underground, how many children are going abducted and missing every year in Babylon the Great. We ain't going to let that go, man. And Esau is going to have to do something major, whether it's another pandemic or a world war, for people to get to stop talking about that. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the elect. I would like to close this out by giving all praises, honor, and infinite glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Chachodash, and double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. While peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect talking out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing.